There you go. Lincoln Financial. Man, that thing's been around forever. That's not a new listing. I'm pretty sure Lincoln Financial was around during those big scary days. There's the bell, 4 o'clock. Markets closed on Broad and Wall, New York City. And we are open for news and business on this side. Very quickly, take a look at the numbers. Very quiet day today because, I'll explain why. Tomorrow and Wednesday, we're going to get inflation numbers, consumer price index, producer price index, big inflation numbers. If you look at that price of oil right there, 67, hasn't really moved up. Moved up a little bit, but not a lot. When oil moves up a lot, expect that inflation number to move up a lot. So I think the inflation number we see over the next 2 days will be relatively tame, and I think the market is just digesting it. So Dow up a little bit all day, NASDAQ up a little bit all day. Gold, 3,354. But the real story, if you want to jump over to crypto very quickly, 119,800 as we speak, 900 on the screen right there. However, we made 123,000 high today. Now there's 123,000 and change. Blew through the number. On Friday, if you remember, we were up at 108,000 on Friday. Went up $15,000 one Bitcoin on Monday, and that's a lot of what's going on in DC right now. They're talking about crypto in DC, a lot of positive news. So 123,000 new high in Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and gold. Strong. Oil sitting at 67. We'd like to see it lower. All right, folks, let's bring in the chair of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board, which makes him a very smart cookie, as we already know. By the way, that board is tasked with advising the president on national security challenges and advancing the America First agenda. And he just so happens to be the CEO of Trump Media and Technology Group. Happy to bring back Devin Nunes. Really good to bring you back. And I don't have to call you Congressman this time, but we talk to you about some of the great things Truth Media is doing. Devin, tell us about this new initiative with Truth Plus and the push. What is this new venture?
Well, Eric, thanks a lot. And Real America's Voice has been critical to development of this technology. And it is ultra fast. Like I would say we have some of the best technology. And people ask, well, why did you have to do this technology this way? And how did you stumble into this? Well, it was because, as you know, Real America's Voice and others were being canceled everywhere. We, as Trump Media, could not rely on any of the big tech companies to build out this infrastructure. So we actually built a closed loop system where we own it all. And so we've provided and built a highway for Real America's Voice and others. And we now have the Patriot package, and we've opened up the public beta. So you can go on to Truth Social, go to Truth Plus TV, and download it today, and you'll see how fast it is. And then over time, this is how you help companies like Real America's Voice, because so many, as you're well aware, of the center-right media companies have been canceled by big tech. So this is, I think, a real opportunity. President Trump set out there to give everybody their voice back, including his own. As you recall, there was no need to build Truth Social, but we had to because President Trump was kicked off of everywhere, just like myself and others were being shadow banned. We're now doing what we did for social media, we're doing for you guys in the linear TV business. So it is especially great for news, Eric. And I'm sorry to go on and on here, but if somebody misses your show, you can, matter of fact, it's 7-day playback. So if I missed your show from last week, I can go back and watch your show. So and it's fast. So I think this is cutting edge technology. It's kind of the combination, if people know, if you took YouTube TV and Comcast and Sling and put it all together into one, that's what we have. And what you're seeing on the screen there, this is just the start. We still are ingesting a ton of content, and this is non-woke content. So for everybody that always says, do you want to support Real America's Voice, everything that you guys are doing, the other news channels, non-woke programming like Great American Family, who was stood up after Hallmark went woke, this is your way to do it. You can put your money where your mouth is, and by the way, enjoy it. I think the people who are downloading our app so far are really enjoying it because they see, I think it's cutting edge technology, and I'm obviously partial to it, but the people that have joined the Patriot package, I think, are seeing the same thing, Eric, and I know that you've used it too, and it's only going to get better with time, and the more people that we have using it, the faster we can move, the faster it can be developed, and the better off we all will be.
Yeah, I just want to throw this out there. It's really encouraging, Devin. As you know, this came about because I had heard about the beta test, the beta. You were in beta for Truth Plus, the television playback of some of the most important shows. I went to the site. I was thrilled to see that we were up top just a second ago. If you scroll back, we're up top, featured show. That's fantastic. But I was also happy because there's, yes, there are competitors, of course. OAN, Newsmax are competitors, but it's really good, Devin Nunes, to see that right-wing media, the voices that, are, as you point out, are shadow banned, are stifled, are censored across other platforms, are front and center on Truth Plus, Truth Social, but more importantly, Truth Plus as well right now. That was heartwarming to see us being there, sure, but everyone else as well.
Yeah, and that's exactly right, Eric. And look, everybody's in this together. That's why President Trump, we wanted to build the highway, prove that you didn't need to use Microsoft and Amazon and all of these companies. We wanted to prove that we could build it on our own. And by the way, it's global now. You can actually, in almost any country, you can watch Eric Bolling, because you can download the app, no matter what country you're in. And you can watch Real America's Voice and others. Now, in the U.S., it's critically important that people who are in the United States join our process, join the subscription service. It's called the Patriot Package. And look, we're not selling you. It's $10 a month. It's like, one fancy Starbucks in New York City. Or, if you think about it, it's one Big Mac meal, actually less in California. I think Big Mac meals are like $15 now. But we really need people to join, help us test this, help it build this out. And when you join, you're supporting the Eric Bollings, the Real America Voices, the Steve Bannons, everybody that has been fighting out there for freedom of speech. And now we're able to have this highway where everybody has a home. And the more we have and the more we work together, the better off I think everyone will be. And I will tell you, it's not just about news, not to just belabor the conversation here, but Great American Family and PureFlix, I mean, they are amazing. They do great content, and that when all these other Disney and all these went woke, and all the silly stuff that you've seen, there are companies out there that are not doing that. So we're really focused on new content, new documentaries. We're also working with Curiosity Stream, which was a spin-off, by the way, of the team that developed Discovery. Discovery got bought, went woke. They created Curiosity Stream, so a lot of documentaries. All this is coming. So when you get on there, you're going to see a lot already. We're going to make updates. You'll be able to use it, and you can go back and forth, 7 days, fast forward. It all should work good. You can put it on all your devices. Oh, and I almost forgot the best part, Eric. It's linked to your True Social account. So you don't have to have a True Social account if you don't want, but it's going to work really, really well. And one of the things we unveiled last week is we're designing what we call Truth Gems. So ultimately, what will happen is that you will get reward points, not only for being on True Social, but also the more you watch of Real America's Voice on Truth Plus. Ultimately, we're going to build this so you get reward points. So that's something that we'll start testing. We're in design phase now. We released that last week. So this is all, and it all comes back ultimately to the future of the economy, where you're going to use this crypto technology beneath all of these platforms to make them work seamlessly, so that we don't have to use. Not only do we not want to use big tech, we also don't want to use the big banks. And that's what we're building, and we're just happy that Real America's Voice and you, Eric, and you've been on it, since the beginning, and we're really thankful to you.
We're thrilled to be on it. I'm thrilled to be part of it, Devin. So it's almost like Netflix. I mean, if you're not into liberal programming, you're kind of into the news, and you happen to sit center or center right. It's basically a Netflix, because you have so many options, not just shows, but other types of content too. I don't mean to be an infomercial here, but I really think it's something. If you're conservative, there's a void. You're filling a major void that the left and left-leaning media has left for you to take advantage of.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And if you think about it, none of us should have to be here right now. Right? I mean, this is, we didn't do this. President Trump didn't need a company. I didn't need a job. I was perfectly fine in Congress representing the people of California. But the left and their wokeness, they did this. All the stuff that was done by Twitter and Facebook and everybody else to millions of Americans. That's why this company, that's why Trump Media and Technology exists. We're the only company in the history of mankind that's basically all retail shareholders, all built by people who needed a voice. And we have built this highway so that people have their voice. And it's only, and look, we're at the nascent stage of this. I mean, you talk about Netflix, like, look, Netflix is good technology. YouTube TV is good technology. I think as we make improvements, when you get on and view our technology, we call it ultra fast. I will tell you, we are every bit as fast as those products. And obviously we're not as big. But as time goes by, we get bigger and bigger. We believe we built the technology so it can be replicated and replicated quickly.
So I'd say the biggest draw in all of media, probably in the history of media, is the boss, is the guy whose name is on the top of your website, Trump. Any idea, any thoughts, any discussions about a Trump TV show? And boy, it would be the place to advertise, or even a Trump network, really.
Well, look, right now we're here for you guys. And there's so many other news outlets. Oh, and I almost forgot. The other thing we're here for are for the religious channels that also have been either, you might have the religious channels on your cable, your old school cable, but there's 4,700 channels, and you might find the religious channel at 4,600, right, at the very bottom. And so because we believe less is more. We're not going to be one of these companies that has 1,000 channels. Like, we're actually just going to get good quality and be a home for people who don't have a voice. So I don't think that the president wants to, well, right now he's in the office, so he couldn't do that anyway. But look, he's got a lot of work to do. I'm not going to speculate on what, he's got 3.5 years. As you know, he works 7 days a week. And look, it's my job to build this highway to keep free speech open, because we're always one election away from deep state, dirty cops at the FBI.
I will throw my hat in the ring early, 3.5 years in advance, that if there comes a day where President Trump, who's leaving office after his second term, says, I wouldn't mind doing a show. I would. I know a guy who's got a lot of years experience hosting that type of show. We'd have a little bit of fun with Devin. Really good having you on, my friend. Keep up the great work, and congratulations on Truth Media Group, and also Truth Social and Truth Plus. Congratulations, Devin Nunes, CEO of Everything Truth Media.
Thanks a lot, Eric. Appreciate it.
I just want to remind you about my podcast and YouTube page, which are both updated daily. You can catch it there. Here to us anytime. You can see that. And also go on Truth Plus. Go to Truth Social, go on Truth Plus, and you can subscribe to the show there. You can watch it every single day there as well. How about this, though? That toll-free number. We talk to you. We listen to your voicemails. At the end of the show, we'll probably do a bunch more. It's either Bannon or this, and your voicemails are incredible. I listen to them all. You're unbelievable, and we'll play some of your own questions, answers, and comments at the end of the show. We'll be back in 2.5 minutes. All right, folks. So you know how we do the voicemails? I just got to show you how cool this is. This is why I love this. I do this for you. I mean, I do TV, but it's really about hearing what you have to say and what you want answered. So over the weekend, I'm just listening to a bunch of the voicemails. And so I think I'm 400 or 500 backlogged right now, but I'm going to listen to all of them. And I hear this one voicemail, and now take a listen.
Hey, Eric, I just saw your little spiel at the end of your show reading voicemails, so I thought I'd leave one. As a retired federal agent, I was actually on Epstein's plane at Teterboro, New Jersey back in the day, and I met him, and he didn't even speak to us. He thought we were like dirt. He had 3 girls on the plane. 2 were from the Baltic nations, I think Estonia and Latvia, and the other was Brazilian. And it was a very uncomfortable experience, and it was a well-known thing. So dig into all the people that worked for immigration and customs during that time in Teterboro, New Jersey, and maybe they can shed some light as far as releasing stuff. As a former prosecutions officer, this is a slam dunk. There's nothing to be scrubbed, hidden, nothing. It's all done. They know who's what and who's where, and it's all about protecting foreign intelligence agencies at this point. And the fact that Trump, who I support and voted for 3 times, isn't just releasing everything is extremely disheartening and is going to hurt MAGA immensely.
So I heard that, and I called him back, and the gentleman said, I'm PJ Stewart. And so I said, would you come on the show and talk about that a little bit? And this is how we work the show. And he said, sure. And so let's bring in PJ Stewart for more information. PJ, tell us how you came to be on the Epstein plane, and tell us a little about what you're doing at the time and what you saw.
Thanks for having me on, Eric. My pleasure. So back in the day, I worked for CBP at Newark International Airport. And once a quarter, I was assigned to the Seaport unit. So once a quarter, we would get a 2-week detail pay period up at Teterboro to process all the people that come in on the private jets there. And I remember, I think it was I'm pretty sure it was a Sunday night. And my buddy came in from the other room. He was a customs guy. We had just merged. It was after 9/11. And he's like, hey, man, this guy's coming in. You won't believe this flight. He comes in all the time with these young girls. It's really kind of crazy. You know, he's coming in any minute. So I'm like, okay. You know, I was just in my office doing my thing. So plane came in. I think it was a 727. And we get on the plane, and it was bench seating. It wasn't like your standard airplane where you have like seats and everyone, 3 and 3. It was bench seating. So we step on the plane, and it was Epstein and these 3 girls. He was sitting with his legs crossed, literally did not say one word to us. The girls, all our interaction was with the girls. I was a little concerned with their age. Obviously, I checked thoroughly their visas. If I'm not mistaken, the oldest was 20. The other 2 were 19 and 18. The visas had been issued by the United States State Department in their respective capitals. So everything checked out. I mean, the visas were real. They weren't, fake or anything. And the interaction was weird. As a law enforcement officer, I'm retired now. After 22 years, you develop those senses, and just that feeling on the plane, something just was not right. That kind of spidey sense, for lack of a better expression. So I got off the plane. I'll never forget. And I Googled like his name, and this is 2004. And the only thing that came up was this guy was a math teacher, and all of a sudden he's running a hedge fund in New York City, and he flew Bill Clinton to Africa on his plane, and maybe Kevin Spacey, I think his name was mentioned too. And I was like, and that was it. Like, it was nothing else really you could find on this guy. And obviously, being law enforcement, I like to dig around. And I literally, again, this is 2004, couldn't find anything. And I'm originally from New York, and my buddy was on Wall Street. And you don't go from being a math teacher to running a hedge fund. So that, right there, was a red flag. But it was a well-known fact that he would come in frequently with these young ladies at the Atlantic terminal in Teterboro Airport. And there's a lot of officers that interact.
Now, PJ, did you see anyone else on the plane other than
No, sir.
Epstein?
The cockpit door was closed, and then we were in the plane was sectioned. So we were in like an area that was probably by 10, 12 feet long. And then I don't know what was beyond that door. God, I don't want to know.
And so is this a regular occurrence? The feds, in one way, law enforcement would board these planes just to see what's going on. And if something didn't feel right, was there another level that you could, elevate the concern to? For sure.
There, he came in pretty frequently. From what I was told, I only encountered him once because he was coming international. So obviously he has to clear immigration and customs at that time. So like I said, I was digging around, but I really couldn't find anything to flip to the upper level, so to speak. But they're definitely, the fact that these girls were youngish, they were legal according to the documentation. And they appeared to be legal. I didn't think they were minors, but it's just a guy his age with girls that young. It wasn't passing the smell test.
And Pete, you in one of our conversations, again, folks, I got voicemail from a random stranger. Peter, I did vet you. I did talk to Ben Berkholm, our friend. I also checked your background a little bit. I did do that before we went this far, but still, you said check law enforcement around the time. You think they know more than they're telling us? And specifically, are we talking FBI? Who?
I would say just the higher ups at customs. It was a tumultuous time, forgive my pronunciation. We had just merged after 9/11. Customs management was kind of taking over everything and kind of pushing out. I called it the Great Purge of the intellectuals, where all the people with immigration background were being pushed out at the leadership level. So you had a bunch of people running the airport whose knowledge was NFL knockoff jerseys and Oakley seizures. They really didn't have the skill set to dig in deep.
Got it. PJ, we ran out of time, but I'd like to bring it back as things develop. As we start hearing different agencies may have known, didn't know, it's just a wild west right now. We just don't know what to understand. Very quickly, your professional opinion only, is there an Epstein list, and where do you think it is if there is?
Yeah, I worked in many law enforcement agencies in my career, always federal. And I worked at the FBI for a couple of years at the JTTF. When you do a case, I mean, the logs for evidence are so thorough, just so thorough, and it's like easy to. I need this, number 3 from this case. I mean, there's something there. If there's like a physical list, I don't know that, but there's evidence of names and people. And I just think I really believe in transparency, and I just think I'm a Trump supporter. I voted for him 3 times. I love the president, but he's got to get ahead of this. He's just got to be as transparent as possible.
Always best. Always best. PJ Stewart, thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
We'll be back 2.5 minutes. Well, our next guest was just a couple of minutes ago at the White House at a luncheon. Well, she's still at the White House grounds, but she was at a luncheon with President Donald Trump and more than 60 CEOs and business leaders who take part in faith-based charitable works. Welcome, White House Faith Director Jenny Korn. Jenny, really good to have you. Can you tell us a little bit about the luncheon? President Trump, he was there. What was his demeanor, and what was the focus of the meeting, the luncheon, and the CEOs there?
Thank you, Eric, and welcome from the White House. Yes, it was an amazing lunch, and as you said, I'm the faith director of the newly created and historic White House Faith Office, thanks to President Trump, who has elevated faith to the highest level. And so this lunch has never been done before, where we bring 82 CEOs, business owners together, who also, because of their faith, give to so many charities and do so much philanthropic work. We wanted to recognize that and also show that we want to partner, the government wants to partner with success, because faith-based programs are 80% plus successful. So we want to make sure when there's people in need that we are partnering with success. And so President Trump was only supposed to be there for 10 minutes. He was there for almost an hour. He loved these people and they loved him.
Jenny, it strikes me, and I've had this conversation with so many people. A year ago in a day, Butler, Pennsylvania, Trump was almost assassinated. And a lot of people talk about what if the bullet was just a quarter inch to the right, it would kill him. But I also say if it was a quarter inch to the left, it would have missed his ear completely, and therefore it would be a completely different outcome. Like, personally, I don't know where I am in my faith. I just have no idea. I've had some heartache in my life I don't want to talk about right here. I don't know where I am. But I will tell you, it is very, very compelling to me to think that there's a higher power that decided to put the bullet through his ear, not take him out, and not miss him completely. What are your thoughts on that?
I believe, and so does he, and he says this publicly and privately, that God spared his life, and he is unashamed to say that. And people think that maybe faith is a new thing in his life, but he grew up going to Sunday school. One of his favorite books is the Bible that his mom gave him. His dad used to take him to Billy Graham revivals. He loved to watch Norman Vincent Peale. So faith has been a quiet part of his life, and so this is not a political at all. And I worked for him all 4 years in 45 administration, and he welcomed prayer. But after Butler, things became just more profound, and he says very openly now that God spared his life, and he put in the Oval Office, he says, he's redecorated, but he has placed 2 angels at the top of the ceiling to oversee the Oval Office and everybody that comes in there. So we do believe that he was spared, and we also believe that there was a reason for that 4-year gap, because it would have been totally different had President Trump rolled into a second term, and so we needed that gap to show America and the world what the difference it is between a President Trump and someone like just a failed President Biden.
Jenny, just work with me here, because I agree that there was a reason God spared Donald Trump from the bullet taking him out. But there's also a reason it didn't completely miss him, to give him the platform for the world to see that this, I would say, if there is such a thing as a chosen one, you couldn't script it any better than that bullet hitting his ear, not killing him, but also not missing him.
100%. Well, you take things for granted, right? When everything just comes easy, and so to be out of an assassination attempt, to see him rise up and do the fight, to have the wherewithal to do that. That is what America needed. That is what the people in the crowd needed, to say, I'm here for you no matter what comes at us. So whether it's a bullet to his ear, but it's other things that people are going through America, whether they can't afford groceries or their rent, or they can't get a job, or they're worried about Israel and Iran, that this president was going to come here and say, I'm going to take the bullet for you. I'm going to take every policy issue, and I'm going to use this 4 years to every possible success that I can have. And as he came into our event, getting an hour of the president's time is very valuable. And he leaves going, okay, I'm going to take the rest of the day to finish saving the country. And so he takes what his job is very seriously, and the rest of us too. I even say, oh my gosh, we already have we're in 6 months. We only have 3.5 years left. So we know how important it is to get what we need to get done for the people of America. He loves this country so much. So I hate when I see like the naysayers out there, because I get to see him every day, and he is working so hard on behalf of the American people.
And Jenny Corn, we're talking to the White House faith director, but you worked fairly closely, I guess, with Paula White as well. When you advise the president on things like the conflicts between Russia and Ukraine, the conflict with Hamas and the Israelis, what do you say to him? How do you advise him on a faith basis? And does he listen to it? And does he take it in? Tell us.
Yes, I mean, he's very proud of the fact that the White House Faith Office is in the West Wing as a direct report to him, working in conjunction with the Domestic Policy Council to implement policy that directly affects people of faith. So we get to meet with him on a regular basis, and he asks us, what is your pastors, what are your rabbis, what are the priests, what are the imams thinking, what are they saying? He wants to know the pulse of the faith community and what they care about. Otherwise, I mean, he celebrated when this decision just came from the IRS and the DOJ about pastors being able to express themselves about who they support publicly, whether they're in office or president, a congress member, or what have you. He always says, okay, how do we repeal the Johnson Amendment? Because I want people of faith to have their freedom of speech. So he listens to people of faith. He wants to know what they think, and he takes that into consideration. I mean, supporting Israel is huge. I mean, when people around are saying, no, we can't support Israel because of this or that, he said, no, U.S. has to stand with Israel. One, it's the right thing to do, but on a faith-based issue, he understands those complexities. All
right, we're going to leave it there. Good having you, Jenny Corn, White House Faith Director. Appreciate your time. Again, just fresh out of a meeting and a luncheon with the President of the United States. Thank you, Jenny. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Eric. God bless you.
No, God bless you, too. All right, well, folks, we'll be back 2.5 minutes. We know the top story in America remains immigration and the right versus left war that rages on as ICE continues to clean up our streets. Democrats are growing angrier by the minute. Check out Congresswoman Debbie Wasserperson-Schultz went on CNN to fearmonger about the living conditions at Alligator Alcatraz. She was apparently furious to learn that the detention center's residents, the deportees, well, they have to use a bathroom when they want to brush their teeth, kind of like the rest of us. Listen.
So they essentially drink, they get their drinking water, and they brush their teeth, where they poop in the same unit. They bragged that they went above standards, supposedly, and gave them a 3-foot privacy wall that stretches the length inside the 32 detainee cage. A 3-foot privacy wall that stretches the length of the 3 toilets.
She does realize, Ms. Wasserman-Schultz does realize that these people are detained because they broke the law, right? I mean, this isn't like charity here. They're detaining them until they're deported back, like jail. Have you seen a prison? Have you seen an 8x8? Have you seen? There's no privacy wall in prison, Debbie. Tom Homan, not to be messed with. Baddest badass in America. He made that very clear on day one, but apparently some people still don't get it. Here is Homan absolutely destroying a heckler who cut Homan off during his TPUSA speech over the weekend.
They're playing the long game. Let's release them in the community. Wait 3 or 5 years.
Member.
Pardon me?
Are you an MS-13 member? It says so.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay. I got a question. No. I got a question for you. Why don't you come up here and hand me that picture? Bring it. USA. You say you got morons like this all over the country. This guy wouldn't like to serve his nation. This guy ain't got the balls to be an ICE officer. He hasn't got the balls to be a Border Patrol agent. This guy lives in his mother's basement. The only thing that surprised me, you don't have purple hair and a nose ring. Get out of here, you loser.
And any question, by the way, that heckler got in wearing a MAGA hat and a TPUSA shirt, I believe. He was just obviously trying to sneak in to give Homan a hard time. But I didn't see him going up on stage with that picture of Homan with MS-13 tattoos branded on his fingers, which aren't really there, obviously. Meanwhile, Tom Homan been quite the role lately. He went on CNN, set the record straight about alligator Alcatraz. Take a listen.
I mean, bottom line is, from the day one, I've been doing this job since 1984. Detainees complain about the conditions of detention. And I said this many times, you can simply go to ice.gov and look at the detention standards ICE has. They have the highest detention standards in the industry. But these same congressmen are complaining about alligator Alcatraz. You didn't see them complaining about, under the Biden administration, people being held in a Border Patrol parking lot surrounded by a fence in the sweltering heat. Not a word. You didn't hear a word about 500,000 children being trafficked in the country and them not being able to locate 300,000. President Trump, this administration is finding thousands of those children. So, they have a lot of anger under President Trump on how we're doing business, and they ignored 4 years of open borders, historic migrant death, historic Americans dying from fentanyl, historic numbers of women and children being sex trafficked, historic number of people on terrorist watch lists coming across the border. Silence.
So we were there. We went to Alligator Alcatraz, his brand new facility. I mean, it's been there for a while, but they're building, yes, they're tents generally, tents, but these beds are brand new. The living facilities are brand new. They're treated very well. This idea that just because it's called Alligator Alcatraz, it's some sort of disgusting detention camp is BS, and the left just doesn't get it. They would know if they showed up like we did when Trump and Noem and Governor DeSantis all showed up there, and we toured the facility, but they don't want to do that. Dana Bash, that was Dana Bash. Well, listen to her try to lure Homan into sounding like a total racist on CNN. He saw right through her toxic scheme. Listen to Homan completely avoid her BS left-wing progressive bait.
You said in an interview this week that reasonable suspicion can be based on, quote, the location, their occupation, their physical appearance, their actions. What about an individual's physical appearance would give immigration agents, quote, reasonable suspicion that they might be in the U.S. illegally?
Well, first of all, let me be clear. Physical description can't be the sole factor to give you reasonable suspicion. As I said in an interview, it's articulable facts with an S. So appearance can be just one. For instance, if someone has an MS-13 tattoo on their face, that may be one factor to add to other factors to raise reasonable suspicion.
Oh, not what you're going for, huh, Dana Bash? What a letdown. You were looking for that racist rant that you never got, did you, Dana Bash? I know the Democrats have gone off the deep end, but Dana Bash isn't doing the party any favors with her ridiculous rage bait interview questions that continue to produce insane sound bites from all of her deranged Democrat guests. Here's Dana sitting down with another Democrat mouthpiece, Senator Alex Padilla, who's clearly losing sleep over Tom Homan and ICE. And remember, this guy getting exited from Kristi Noem's event. Watch.
And what if I was outside of Home Depot, because I like to do some work around the house, not dressed in a suit? Would I be a target of ICE enforcement under Tom Homan? Probably. And it's just wrong. It's not just due process rights that have become the concern, but racial.
They're continuing to defend the criminals against the victims, who are us Americans and people getting raped and murdered at the hands of these people. In other news, the long-awaited release of the Jeffrey Epstein crime files has been delayed time and time again. Doubt now looms over the situation, a complete contrast from the public or optimism that Americans had when Team Trump promised that the information would be made public. Listen to what Dan Bongino had to say about the situation.
Nobody has resigned over this. No one. I have an important message now, too. This is directed at the people who know. The people who know. I'm asking you as a friend. Life is calling, man. It's time to pick up the phone. Big people do big things. Small people do small things. The courageous are going to speak out. I don't want to hear lectures about, oh, my pension and my... I resigned and walked away from my job, and there was no guarantee anything was ever going to come out of it because I believed in something bigger, so you can spare me the lectures. You'll probably get whistleblower protection. Go get yourself a lawyer and speak out now. You're running out of time. Life's calling, man. Pick up the phone.
Let's get it. Let's get it out there, guys. Let's get it out. Jasmine Crockett got a new haircut and debuted The Look on MSNBC. She also dropped her latest conspiracy theory about Republicans during the interview. This one needs to be heard to believe.
Clawing back those things that would have hopefully started to cool this planet down because they don't believe in science. The least that they could do is believe in helping American people. Unfortunately, we continue to see Republicans decide that they want to bury their constituents instead of actually doing everything that they can to make sure that they live amazing and full lives.
Yeah, to the point I want to go back.
No idea what the hell she's talking about. No clue what she's talking about. You? Let me know. Hit me up. I'm curious. Call the voicemail line. Bernie Sanders is vowing to get socialist, call him communist, Zohran Mamdani, elected in New York, which, as we discussed, would be a total nightmare. Listen to Mittens Bernie, break down why Zohran is the only choice for New York.
He's going to have the entire establishment, the oligarchy, the billionaires coming down on his head. Not only because he's demanding that the wealthy and large corporations in New York City start paying their fair share of taxes, they are worried that his campaign is an example of what can happen all over the country when you bring people together to demand the government that works for all of us and not just the few. So they really want to crush this guy. And you have billionaires saying quite openly, we are going to spend as much as it takes to defeat this guy. You have Democratic leadership not refusing to jump on board a campaign where this guy is the Democratic nominee. So most importantly, I'm going to do everything I can to see that Zohran becomes the next mayor of New York.
You know, I'm old enough to remember a day when just being called a socialist was enough to disqualify you from holding office in America. I'm not really sure why Bernie Sanders thinks it's a good idea to back a socialist, a communist, as the mayor of the largest city in America. Maybe it's time for Bernie to go too. All right, before I head to break, just remember, you can subscribe to the podcast on any one of those areas down there. Also, something I want to show you, I hear hundreds, thousands at this point of your voicemails. You talk about everything. We have more of your voicemails coming up after the break. Call that number, toll free. Maybe it gets you on TV in the next couple of days. We'll be right back. All right, you never disappoint. You never disappoint. The voicemails come in. It's amazing. And like I said, earlier in the show, we booked someone from a voicemail that came in, PJ Stewart, who was a former Fed agent who was on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, ended up being a guest on the show. So keep them coming. Your insights are incredible. Mad Dog, what do we have as far as voicemails today?
So this is Beth from Idaho, and she says, don't celebrate gold prices being up.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hi, Eric. This is Pat from Idaho. I just wanted to say I think it's inappropriate for you to be celebrating an increase in the price of gold. It just means our dollar is weaker. Not cool. Please think about that. Thank you.
So was it Pat or Beth? Pat or Beth, let's do it this way. The dollar weakening, yes, is one of the reasons gold prices go up, but it's not all of it. A lot of it is there's inflation reasons, there's insecurity about the government not knowing if tariffs are going to work or not. There's foreign geopolitics involved. There are a lot of reasons to own gold. I celebrate gold because it's been a fantastic hedge against all the other garbage that's going on in the economy. So I'm not celebrating the fall of the U.S. dollar. Absolutely not. I want the dollar to be the reserve currency around the world. We need it to be the reserve currency for everything. I know BRICS and whatnot are trying to undermine the U.S. dollar, but it's not the only reason gold goes up. Yes, a weakening dollar makes gold go up, but so do a lot of other things. That one being the one reason I don't like the fact that gold's going up. Because of that, every other reason, all 10 of the other reasons, you need to be diversified in gold. I am completely. This is me, not sponsors, not anyone, me talking. I've done this for 20 years. Own gold, and I will never sell my gold. First day I walked on Fox News. First day I was ever on television. Held up an ounce of gold, $600 that day. It's now $3,400 ballpark. I will never sell my gold. Nothing to do with the dollar, but good question. You got another one, Mad Dog? I think there's another gold question in here.
Yeah, viewer talks about visiting Fort Knox.
Let's do it.
Hey, Mr. Bolling. Just curious what happened to the let's visit Fort Knox idea. I just got a feeling there ain't no gold at all in the place, and they don't want to let us know. I'm sure it's probably a thing of national security, seeing we are not backed by gold. But if you could, just try to find out what happened to let's visit Fort Knox. Thank you. Have a blessed afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you. Leave your name. Have your comments, but let us know where you're from and what your name is. You have a great point. Sir, I want to know what's in Fort Knox. I've offered to the White House, I would like to be in that room when they go in and find out what's in Fort Knox. We expect like several $1 trillion worth of gold to be in that room. We hope it's there. A lot of people, like this gentleman who called, says they believe that it was liquidated over the years. Governments taking the gold out, leaving IOUs in there, whatever they do, and maybe spending it. All right, Matt, I hope it's there. But I want to be there when they open the doors. I want cameras rolling. I want to bring you too. I'll let you know. I hope I'm invited to go on that one. Mad Dog, another one?
This is Gigi from Messina, New York, and she doesn't want to pay for other people's kids.
Hey, Gigi, Messina, New York. I got a question, something that really makes me mad. Why do all these people that have these kids they can't afford, and then they force homeowners like me to pay for their kids' trips? I paid for my kids when they were in school. I shouldn't be forced to pay for other people's. Thank you. Love your show.
Thank you, Gigi. You're 100% right. You're saying the things, a lot of these voicemails come in and say similar versions of what you just said. I paid my fair share. I paid for my kids. I don't want my tax dollars paying for other people's kids. And I think you're talking about the illegals. I'm pretty sure you're talking about the illegals who come across and just suck our resources dry, whether it's school, whether it's housing, EBT cards. It's our money that they're using. 100% right, Gigi. You got another one for me, Mad Dog?
Yeah, speaking of illegals, we got something about alligator meat.
Hey, Bolling, Mr. Bolling, I love your show. Hey, you know this illegals that is in prison in Alcatraz? We need to feed them alligators. They make good meat. We don't need to buy meat for them. Thank you. Bye.
So I'm pretty sure she was trying to say, hey, Bolling. I said, hey, give me your name back. I'd like to say hey back to you. Feed the alligators meat, the deportees. Mad Dog, was she saying feed the deportees
feed the
alligators?
Meat from alligators.
Oh, feed the deportees the alligator meat.
Yes.
You want to know something? That's not a bad idea. It's not bad. If you've never had alligator meat, you should try it some time. It's as they say, tastes like chicken, only a little bit more gamey, so to speak. I've had alligator jerky. I haven't had alligator meat. I've had alligator jerky, and it wasn't bad. I'll be completely honest with you. It was absolutely not bad. But here's the point. Give your call, put the full screen up there again, Mad Dog, with the phone number. Call us. Let us know what's on your mind. Let me know what you're thinking. 888-601-0032. Call anytime. Say anything you want to talk about. If it's not a topic we're talking about today, it doesn't matter. We'll get to them. Be interesting. Give your name. Let us know where you're coming from so we can get a sense of what parts of the country are concerned about what topics. And we will talk to our producers, and we'll make sure that the show reflects what you want talked about. It's really a great venue. Again, sometimes Bannon comes on when he's not. We will continue to do these because it's very, very, very important. Watch for inflation numbers coming out tomorrow morning, 8:30 before the market opens. They'll look like a consumer price index and a producer price index first and a consumer price index. They will have market reactions. And keep your eye on Bitcoin, guys. Gold, $33.50. Bitcoin, $120,000. Bannon's War Room is coming up next. We will see you again tomorrow. Have a great night. And as always, give us a call.